What's going on, guys? This is Scott Stern Firearms, and I have with me
Chris Lay,
John Thompson.
And we're here for our second part of the series now, kind of going behind the scenes. So Stern Firearms and many other companies like us have been on the prowl looking for that awesome Glock slide, the one that can be affordable, that won't break the bank, but is still elegant but awesome at the same time. And it's brought us basically in our backyard, like 2 miles away. So we're gonna hand the show over here to Chris and John to talk about their awesome Glock 19 Gen 3 window cut RMR cut slide. So here we go.
All right, thank you very much. So what we set out to do here is, Chris and I have been manufacturing products as OEM suppliers for, I guess, all of our career, for various people from every technology, from military to power generation. And about 7 or 8 years ago, we started our own business, and our first customers were in the firearms market. We'd found a great opportunity for ourselves to really employ our skill there, and over the years we've been honing in and refining and slowly making our own products and bringing them to market. So what we had done here is we had decided that we wanted to make a product that was as flawless in function as possible, very elegant, mathematically sound. There's a reason behind everything that we're doing on this product. We don't really believe in snake oil or super fancy type things. So what we really wanted to do is we wanted to make a product that not only could people afford, but would function well, and that Chris and I would both choose to rely on it should we have to. So these products are reliable, they're sound, and being the OEM supplier and going direct to market, we're able to provide a very high level of quality without the overhead associated with multiple people in the supply chain marking it up and then remarking it up. So that's been kind of our token here. So what we've done is we've brought a couple of varieties of this product to market. We've made them very precisely, and as you can see by the other videos that these gentlemen have made, that you can see close up of just the visual type things. So beyond function, yes, there is a certain amount of fashion that goes into this. There's a certain amount of thought that goes into why we chose a PVD coating as opposed to just a straight black oxide or a nitride or something like that. So what we feel like we've accomplished is a very accurate product, and so far we're having great results in the market with it. So we want to bring that through Sterner and through Shooter Media Outlet, and that's basically what we're up to. So we could drill down on any sort of details from there as far as what we did and why. This is a billet CNC machined product. The material is domestically sourced. We're big on made in USA type stuff. So you're not going to see any Russian steel, weird countries imported steel with poor grain structure quality, none of that stuff. So we're buying fresh, new made 4140 steel that we're then stress relieving and running through a proprietary process, and that's how we're able to hold micron level repeatability on the end product. So, and what that means for the end user is that when you put this thing together, when you put sights on it and you barrel it and you go out there, if you did your part and your sights are aligned right, you're going to be pretty bang on. So if you're doing something custom with it, you'll have a great starting point. So what we've tried to do is really make it hard for people to say, I found a better product elsewhere. So that's basically what we've been getting into. So we start out with the RMR version for the Trigicon. We do plan to offer all the big names that you had mentioned in your other video. So the Vortexes and all that other stuff. Window cuts, we also offer that with no window cuts for different types of duty people. And we basically set out to make the slide that we always wanted. So the angled serrations, that's based on feedback from paramilitary people that have just complained about not being able to rack slides with dirty gloves or whatever the situation is when you're tired. The material that we selected, we chose 4140 because it's a very tried and true military grade of steel. It's very reliable, and we don't really appeal to a lot of the trendy type stuff. If there is a scientific study that says another material has a pro or a con, then we'll weigh that in and we'll apply that to it. So, but what we feel like we've brought to market here is a very excellent quality product that's precisely made on some of the most expensive machines that you could buy on Earth. So
Now,
that's the long and short of it.
you're both engineers, and it both shows, because it's a very well thought out product. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you had touched briefly on having different types of optics put on there. Do we have a time frame that we can expect the viewers to say, like, hey, we can start rocking out Vortex optics or Burris? I know you guys have a very well methodical, thought out process, and we're kind of curious on that because recently we've seen Agency Arms come out with their adapter plates. But people, since we've been looking at the message boards and seeing all the blogs and people getting first looks at this, it's still a salty price.
Sure.
So you guys are still able to top that price, which is why we're sticking with you guys, but we're curious to know what's coming forward.
Sure. Well, we definitely intend to make the MOS type stuff. So given the recent output from people like FN and others, there are certain patent considerations we have, and we also want to make sure that what we bring to market is not to satisfy, a short-term rush or a flash in the pan, if you will, but there needs to be a very valid reason for us to come up with something new. It has to be
Longevity.
Structurally, sound. It needs to be durable, accurate, all that sort of thing. And, we need to be able to stand alone with the product that we make. So as far as the time frame, we really have a hard time giving a specific date. Yes, this is when it will be for our MOS system that handles multiple optics for a parent slide, given the patent research and some of the other things that have to go on. Integral products are pretty simple to make pretty quickly, and that comes down to market demand. So if people are really interested in the Vortex or something like that, we will cater to that. We will make sure that there is an available thing for folks to have. If it really comes down that the MOS is what needs to happen, then we'll slow up on that, and then we'll bury our research into that so that we can satisfy that need. So.
Sure. And let's talk about different generations right now. You guys are working on Gen 3s exclusively right now for the 19s and the 17s. And that's typically where the market's been going, that we've seen going trend after trend after trend, and obviously P80 has made a fortune off of just Gen 3s. But we're also hearing talks now come up for the next potential SHOT Show, or maybe even the Great American Outdoors Show, that Polymer 80 will be coming out with the Gen 4s. Where are we at along the lines? Is that something you guys want to introduce with the Gen 4s coming out in the near future as well?
Yeah, we intended to do that. So the Gen 3 obviously was the first to go, given the P80 and all those sort of things, so the highest market demand, and also it's a very stable design. It's something that has very high regard, so not a lot of malfunctions just from the actual engineering of the Gen 3 product itself. The earlier Gen 4s had some problems, but I believe they ironed them out fairly quickly, and we do intend to support that. So the idea is that with all these P80 builds and things like that, well, the best way to get ourselves out into the market would be to supply for the demand. So that was intentionally what we had set out to do. So as far as Gen 4s, yes, very interested in that. That's something that we do plan to do. And it's going to be market driven, and also it's going to be driven by how quickly we can move and still maintain the same quality that we have. We really don't intend to rush anything to hurry up and have an issue. So every product.
We've seen some of those debacles happen with some of the firearms companies. I won't name them, but rushing to get things out to appeal to the masses has always, no pun intended, backfired on people. So that's what we appreciate with you guys, that you actually have that thought out process, that you're willing to take the time and make something right. I'd rather wait and have the product perfected than get it instantaneously and then be pissed off at my product.
Yeah, we agree.
So,
and it's better for production. So if we're moving forward all the time, then it's just smoother from business stance. Chris handles most of that stuff very well. And if we have to output a product, then we need to make sure that it's done right, and it's going to flow. We don't want to have some sort of knee-jerk type reaction. So just like what you said, like, we really do not chase after trends. We really do not race to hurry up and do something, or possibly even hurry up and wait. Like, we don't want to do that. We're going to make a product that's proven out, that we feel comfortable putting our name on the side. So we were making these products for other people for nearly a decade and things like that, and they've been performing very well. Well, we wanted to make some changes. Well, if we're going to put our name on the side, you better darn well know that it's going to be good. So we're going to rely on that with our namesake. It's also, it's what our business rides on. So,
and we've been impressed with that. I mean, especially with the thought that you put into just the plate cover itself.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, that was
an
incredible feat in a very, very short amount of time.
Yes. So I used to design products for a number of industries, whether it was cycling, power generation, medical, whatever. And then whenever we started doing firearms works, realized that there was a big opening there. So not a lot of people had the same training and skill set that I did. And I'm not saying that I'm better or worse than somebody else, just, I have my own skills. So designing these types of things, I thought, okay, well, I have access to lots of veterans, lots of police officers that tell what they want in a product, why it fails, the problems that they face.
Sure.
So with a plate cover, you think, all right, well, that's, just a dumb plate cover. Like, why is that significant? Well, many reasons it's significant. So many people have told me that they have broken their rear sight off, whether in a fight with, like a perpetrator, a police officer from Philadelphia is always having that problem. It's just saying, look, these things need to be durable. So what we did was we tried to input everything from folks that were as far as wide from Iraq and Afghanistan to home. We wanted to make sure that every piece of information that we could put in, that we could prove with some sort of engineering background or with some sort of data why it exists. So on the plate cover, I intentionally made really beefy front serrations on it. I intentionally put as much material around the screw head as possible, and I have the radiuses blending in and out so it's not a snag point. So if you notice, the reverse draw of the holster has a very smooth profile. The odds of you snagging this on the way out is pretty low. Like, you would have to come up with something special to make that happen. But also the material that's around it, besides the fact that the serrations blend up nicely, if you drop this down a concrete staircase, it's not going to mush the material over and smash it into the screw head and then give you a service issue later. You'll be able to service your own product and rely on it long term. So.
Glock sights, I mean, whether it's civilian or law enforcement or military, Glock sights are Glock sights are Glock sights.
Mm-hmm.
They're polymer with a little thin piece of aluminum on the inside.
Exactly.
So, call it what it is. So that's an oversight that we see some of these companies have, where you guys have, before even, putting pen to paper and making this come to fruition, it's something that's already been thought out, which is another impressive thing. So with that being said, the question we've gotten, so we've been, talking to different vendors for you guys. We've been talking to a whole plethora of people at this point. Their question always is, why is it so cheap?
Direct to market. So Chris may be able to answer that a lot better than I can.
It's not just the direct to market, it's all the technology that we've invested in. We're an extremely automated shop, and we set up our processes really well from the beginning so that we have the repeatability that we need. We don't have to deal with issues of scrap, and we take all that out in the beginning with the engineering, and we develop a process, not only a product, but a process out on the floor. Our expectation is that we can do that repeatedly with nobody here in the shop, and the equipment does it for us. So we've invested heavily not only in the equipment, but in the people that work with us and for us. They're the best of the best.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it translates into not cheap, it translates into
Cost effective.
Cost effective.
Yeah, very much so.
So we, again, our background has been supplying the industry for years now. We've been here almost a decade, and we are a major OEM supplier to a couple of the major firearms
So
manufacturers.
let's touch on that. I mean, because this is your first real unveiling. I mean, it's always, we've joked about that you're behind the curtain, and very few people that work behind the curtain ever get recognized for anything. I mean, creators of Barrett and H&K higher ups, they can walk down the street and you won't even know who they are half the time.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I mean, what are some of the other products you're dabbling in right now?
Well,
or that you've built this around?
Our very first product started back in 2011. Beretta gave us a purchase order for the 92 FS locking block for their 9mm pistol. And it was the best Christmas present in the whole world. It was, we'll sell every one you can make. And that year we went and formed our company, found a building, and just started with one machine. And I think we made 65,000 locking blocks that year.
Yep.
We were the first company to actually get on a first pass with Beretta, so all of our stuff just goes straight to their production line. It bypasses incoming inspection because
That'd be a good thing to touch on, like just how we got there statistically with all the.
we just I kind of start a little bit with how we set up our process in the very beginning, but everything we do is based off of statistics, and there is so much math that happens in our company that drives every decision that we make. And our processes are just that sound and so automated that there's just no room to have errors or make bad parts. So we have been supplying locking blocks to Beretta since 2012.
Yeah,
We're
that's
in the
awesome.
hundreds of thousands with yet to have a return.
Yep.
And that's just one of the many products.
And that's huge for a company such as Beretta, because I mean they're a massive conglomerate, and to not have to worry about that on the backside saves them so much money, time, and effort.
Indeed.
Where we've we're pretty privy to a lot of stuff happening in the firearms community and industry and everything else. And there's all the horror stories of certain companies coming back saying like, hey, test and evaluation failed here, 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 and here. And before you know it, the line gets pushed back for an entire year, or something didn't go right, parts are breaking, and there's that, ever so dangerous recall.
Right.
And that's something that Beretta doesn't have to worry with you guys, and that speaks volumes at that point.
We got our ISO 9001-2008 certification the first year we were in business.
Wow.
That's an accomplishment for
that's
any
huge.
business, but for a small startup business, it's a phenomenal accomplishment. We've been through the last 7 audits with no findings. And what that means is an outside agency comes in and audits our entire business from the moment the material hits the floor to the final product goes out, to ensure that we're doing what we say we're going to do. And what we say we're going to do is that we're going to produce a product for you at a price that we agree on, at the quality level that you want it, and it's going to arrive on time. And we've just been very successful doing that. That's been our driving.
And that's what we both worked through ISO throughout, our entire careers. So it was just a very obvious answer as to how to maintain long-term quality in a system that works. Like it functions just fine. And if you follow the rules, you will ensure that your product is good and it's reliable. And you can run it in an operation our size where you have multiple things going on, but everything is tracked in real time and it's handled, and you don't have to worry about remembering things, chicken scratch notes, things like that. Like, it's very scientific, so can't emphasize that enough. Like, this is all math and science based, and the physics of the machine and the tooling and things like that. So from ground up, that's what we build ourselves around. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority of our employees are all college degreed, and it's very important. We put a lot of our employees make us who we are, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
So we have one thing we didn't touch on. We have total lot control. John did mention that we do source all of our stuff domestically. That's very important for us. We're big made in the USA guys right here.
Big time.
So we buy domestically. Everything is lot controlled, and it comes in as it goes out. Every product that I'll hold in my hand or will come out of the shop, we will be able to trace it back through its.
And again, most
onboard
companies can't afford that. I mean, you're working at such a high level with such amazing technology on the floor that you can buy stuff sourced here in the United States.
Yeah.
Where most companies, they're only working off of one machine and 2 guys. They're forced to go, to other countries to source the stuff way cheaper.
Exactly.
And there's far more defects. So that's another testament to what the quality is behind your product.
That's a good point. Yeah, like part of the we have very expensive equipment. So whereas some competitors may use like a Haas type machine, which is a good piece of equipment for the price and everything like that. And I don't want to speak ill of that, but it's very hard to compare an $80,000 vertical machine to a $350,000 horizontal machine with glass scales that repeats within a micron on positions and temperature compensation and all that stuff. So by able to have all that stability and the high torque spindles and the ability to create super good surface finishes and things like that, we can allow our machines to do the heaviest of the lifting for us, and with an intelligent approach it will maintain. So that's part of how we can get that efficiency. And we supply a lot of other big blue chip companies. So we are an OEM supplier for a lot of people in the technical industries and the firearms industries and all sorts of industries. So by doing that sort of stuff and working on that level, we're able to facilitate what we have and be efficient at it. Like, the misnomer is always, when you buy expensive machines and automation, well, you're either going to jack up your price or you're going to fire all your employees and just run automated. It's like, well, that's not really true. Like, we're doing the automation, we're buying these expensive things to be competitive and to create jobs, and that's how we're able to offer the products and services that we do at the cost that we do, at the stability that we do. So we have all these process controls in place.
Yeah, time, efficiency, and money. It all equates out, but that's That's a huge thing, but I mean, any other projects you guys want to talk about that's 2A related? Anything that you guys have been working on?
Sure, we, one of our other major
What I can
product
do is I'll
lines.
kind of get out of this and let you guys kind of
Okay,
demo
sure.
some of this. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the other major product line that we introduced last year was our Classic Hunter Action, and it has been extremely well received in the marketplace. Even up to, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Alamo Precision Rifles down in Texas, they introduced their new product, showcasing our action on their product. And the marketplace response has been overwhelming. Just an incredible reaction.
Yeah, indeed. I'm looking for an example here to show. We're one of the only, if not the only, people that currently make a production billet one-piece bolt. So I didn't realize that was a big deal till after the fact. Originally, folks had requested us to make braised together two-piece bolts and things like that. However, I didn't like the quality of the braised product, and I didn't like just the lack of fidelity with it. There's too much at play with it. And also, a braised joint could potentially be a weak spot if the person that's doing the brazing isn't an expert at it. So what we chose to do is we use our experience to basically say, okay, well, I can make this product out of one solid piece of billet chromoly, and after heat treating, I can have this thing straight and head spaced within plus or minus a half thousandths of an inch, so that the thing will drop in and, you know, it'll go bang or do whatever you want it to do if you're going to customize it and take it further. So that's been a little bit disruptive in the industry, because the only other competitor that we've really had was like PT&G or something like that, where they'll make a lot more models but they can't make the volume. So we're able to crank these out with our process, and we can make, you know, an adequate amount a month of several hundred pieces that are straight. They're, you know, they're round, the headspace is clean, the lugs mate, like everything rubs correctly inside the receiver and all that stuff, and you know, that's basically just what we do. So yeah.
Yeah, we've done it about 7,000 times.
Yeah. Yes. So we have some practice, and also it speaks to our supply chain too. So it's not just what we do. We have to make sure that the person that stress relieves this material is doing it properly, that the heat treater hangs them in the proper way, and if it's a part that's prone to warping, okay, we can use the appropriate salt bath process, you know, those types of things. So you don't get that if you're making 25 units a month. You can't warrant that kind of leverage in the industry. So if you really want to have your outside suppliers take you seriously and help you develop a process that really will be superior, you know, you got to put your neck out, you got to make the products, you got to create the volume, and you have to do the work. And then when you do that and you provide the motivation for all of your outside suppliers to then provide that back to you, then that's how you get a bolt that heat treats and stays dead straight after hardness. So within, you know, a thousandths or two over the barrel for the most part. And then we'll even do a finishing process after that, just to get that thing really drilled down as needed. So yeah, we really just been wanting to set out to make sure that what we were providing was the best that we could provide. So
Awesome. Well, I guess the next step then is let's see how everything's made.
all right, let's do it.